There are numerous opportunities for the leadership of this country using this technology and making sure that Pakistan always does not arrive late to the future. So for instance, stablecoins. We receive over $38 billion in stablecoins. There is a premium that is paid.
Remittances.
Yes, remittances, sorry. 5 to 6%. And then there is also, on top of this, there is a fiscal burden on the exchequer where we pay banks to bring this remittance in. I think that changes with stablecoins, with instant settlement. Then, in this day and age, we have the likes of Hyperliquid, which is doing more volume than the New York Stock Exchange, where you have over 2,300 people employed and you have Hyperliquid with only 11 people working in the company. This is the beauty. This is why Larry Fink once says in his recent letter that tokenization is as if I'm going back to the 1996 of the internet. That every bond, every stock, every asset has to be tokenized. And that is a leap for Pakistan. That is an opportunity which the leadership understands, that countries have progressed or institutions have progressed on the premise of technology only. There are countries that either progress on natural resources or human resources. With Pakistan already being the third biggest adopter of digital assets, if we create the right environment so people in Pakistan or the youth of the country doesn't think that the price of ambition or the price of success is a ticket outside Pakistan, is the departure, we can build billion-dollar startups from here.
Now, one way to think about Pakistan's crypto adoption is also a rejection of the system that currently prevails. We have an 18% general sales tax. Salaried income tax can go up to 30%. Corporate income tax is up to 29%. What are some conversations that have happened? I'm sure you've gone in and said that, look, we can bring all this money in, but if the cost of compliance is too high, this constituency will keep getting built outside of Pakistan's realm and we will not be able to benefit from it. So how have the conversations gone with finance, with FPR, with State Bank?
See, firstly, we are clear that we do not want to go in with a very aggressive taxation regime, because then this is decentralized technology. Not just flight of capital, but flight of talent as well will go out. So we are very clear there, and we have a taxation committee. And because, as we can appreciate, that these are legacy organizations, there is still a gap in the understanding of the real technology. So the adoption is not just happening here. When we look at the New York Stock Exchange, that's moving on-chain, 24-hour settlement. The biggest banks of the world, they are adopting all of this because this is the future of finance. And then you look at the Clarity Act, market structure bills. And then you also look at Pakistan, which has never been kind of known for technology. But what is interesting is our regulatory regime on this future of financial technology is pretty much, we are at par with how the US is moving, right? So we'll be able to leapfrog on all the, whether it's the 100 million unbanked people who were never part of the formal economy using wallets. But coming back to the point of taxation, we understand and we want to foster innovation. We do not want, you see, abhi tak bhi to koi aisi, there is no incremental increase कि अगर आप बहुत एक aggressive taxation ले आएंगे, it won't move the needle. With us, it's not a short-term 6-month play. We want actually, because we have a very unique position, we have 40 million users of the technology, then we also have one of the biggest freelancers market. So if you put two of them together, just imagine that this is the currency of the future. When robots will create value, they won't be using and counting cash, right? How will the value being transacted on stable coins? I was just reading that last month over $50 million has been moved within the agentic economy. Now agentic economy is trillions of dollars, right? And there is no regulatory framework for that. So the whole idea is, and the premise is, that we want a change in the mindset and we don't want to look at things from a very myopic view. There is of course an opportunity cost, which if as a state we need to bear by acknowledging stable coins and allowing some sort of comfort to people to bring back money or at least declare and then to build on it, because trading is just a very small part of the whole technology. अभी आप मुझे बताएं कि पाकिस्तान में कितने टैक्स पेयर्स हैं?
Effectively 7 million फाइलर हैं, बट उसमें से असली जो टैक्स पेयर हैं वो 3.5-4 million है.
और मैं अगर आपको बताऊं कि नॉर्थ ऑफ 30 मिलियन पाकिस्तानियों ने अपने नादरा कार्ड और लाइव KYC के साथ रजिस्टर किया हुआ है क्रिप्टो एक्सचेंजेस पे, तो इट्स अ ग्रेट अपॉर्चुनिटी कि पिछले 80 सालों में आप 5 मिलियन टैक्स पेयर इकट्ठे कर चुके हैं.
इतने तो इफेक्टिव बैंक अकाउंट्स भी नहीं है.
एग्जैक्टली.
टोटल बैंक
बट
अकाउंट्स
मैं वो बता रहा हूँ कि रजिस्टर्ड विद KYC लाइवनेस टेस्ट. तो 80 सालों की प्रोग्रेस टैक्स नेट में लोगों को लेके आने की एक तरफ है, एंड देन जस्ट लेट कॉमन सेंस प्रिवेल. और क्योंकि अगेन उसकी इंक्रीमेंटल इम्पैक्ट्स इन मल्टीपल डिफरेंट वेज है ना, सो लेट्स नॉट जस्ट बी वेरी माइनोपिक टू टैक्स. एंड दिस इज माय आर्ग्यूमेंट, राइट, दैट ओवरऑल सम गेम को आप देख ले, एंड देन एक्चुअली द practitioners of this technology या users of this technology, they want to pay tax. क्यों? वरना उन्होंने देख लिया है कि जब अनरेगुलेटेड था तो जो लॉ इन्फोर्समेंट एजेंसीज थी उन्होंने क्या किया. नोबडी इज शाई ऑफ हाउ द सिस्टम वाज बीइंग एक्सप्लॉइटेड, राइट? तो आई रादर पे X% ऑफ टैक्स बट हैव द कंफर्ट ऑफ माइंड कि मेरे बैंक अकाउंट में कोई चेन डिस्प्यूट नहीं आएगा, एंड आई कैन लीगली डिक्लेयर इट. एंड नॉट जस्ट दैट, using what I've earned, I can buy a small piece of land through tokenization of real world assets, tokenization of gold. So, I start to invest outside the digital assets, but using that technology which is backed by real world assets.
What I'm hearing from you is you're going and explaining this to all our organizations, and it's going to be a process.
Absolutely. In Pakistan, the process must be followed.
Is taraf State Bank, a solid institution, like they've been a guardian of so much, and they're conservative. So they've been silent. And now the SRO recently came out where crypto is not illegal anymore. What does that mean? This is a room full of founders and investors. So आज से 2 महीने पहले क्या illegal था जो अब legal हो गया है? That's the first question, and I'll ask a follow-up.
तो वो जो सर्कुलर है वो एक्चुअली 2018 में there was a blanket ban कि banks cannot entertain digital assets. तो जब ये वर्चुअल एसेट्स एक्ट आया तो उसके बाद जिन कंपनीज को हमने एनओसी दिया, दे आर अलाउड, या जिसको भी PVARA एनओसी देगा वो बैंक्स के पास जाके अब फॉर्मली engage कर सकते हैं, बैंक अकाउंट्स खोल सकते हैं. सो इट्स वन स्टेप इन द राइट डायरेक्शन.
And NOC is not a license. So let's take it one by one.
No objection certificate.
Let's start with on-ramp, off-ramp. So let's say आपने Binance को NOC दिया हुआ है. So now Binance is in Pakistan. It has millions of accounts. So if I want to now put money into Binance, I want to load my wallet, go on ramp, and let's say Binance partners with, I don't know, a Bank Alpha or a JS. Is that possible now?
That is what we are working towards.
So the NOC allows the banks to start talking to them?
It's like moving a Titanic, not a speedboat. You have multiple stakeholders. तो अब वो प्रोसेस शुरू हो गया जिसमें वो बैंक से जाके बात कर सकते हैं, और simultaneously again on ramp is another complicated discussion. Pakistan is a very unique country with its own realities, right? So we need to create a Pakistan first solution. We are now discussing the on-ramp. Off-ramp is fairly easier, right?
Simpler, yeah.
क्योंकि ये $38 billion remittance में आ रहे हैं. They are coming through a messaging system that was created in the 1973, yet we are trying to use that in 2026. तो of course उसकी costs आए हैं, stablecoin instant settlement. तो जो सऊदी से या किसी और मिडिल ईस्टर्न कंट्री से 50,000 भेज रहा है, वो पहुंचते 42, 43, 44,000 है. वो मैं चाहता हूँ वो 6-7 हज़ार रुपये उसको वापस मिले. Not just that, on the other hand, it costs the exchequer because the government pays on every single remittance to encourage. So that is now another legacy system which was in place. It was costing the government for the past 50 years that we want to change.
So off-ramp is pretty much easy to do?
Off-ramp is easy to do, but it is a process that has to be followed.
So at least if a bank is engaging with an organization, at least they don't have to be afraid of...
If they have an NOC.
If they have an NOC. So of course the inbound is easy. So you're saying banks should get an NOC from SVB?
Again, banks ke saath, I was actually meeting the Pakistan Banking Association today. It's a financial upgrade. So each sector needs to have a discussion. It's an evolving process with everyone. It's not a kill switch. And this is the P2P market, which, essentially what was there in crypto in 2014-15, the arbitrage opportunity, जब आप एक exchange से लेके दूसरी पे भेज देते हैं. ये P2P market essentially is very big now, which is outside the regulatory regime and where the consumers are not protected, right? And this is what we want to finish, कि इसको हम खत्म करें और through banks actually on-ramp करना शुरू करें.
But banks का तो in a way financial incentive नहीं है to really encourage both on-ramp, off-ramp, because of course they earn handsome fees and government incentives. So it will probably be the smaller digital banks for them to partner with exchanges to provide both on-ramp, off-ramp. They'll be able to work at thinner margin and probably give better services. And they happen to be serving a digitally native population. Has there been any conversations on that front?
We've not, in our process, also have to appreciate that we are fairly very nascent, right? Only a couple of months. What took Hong Kong, Singapore, UAE with all the capital, the human capital, the mandate in the world, it took them a couple of years. So, and officially, PVARA has no staff, right? So, these are certain realities. ये सब, आगे पीछे से रिक्वेस्ट करके डेपुटेशन नो पीपल नीड टू नो ना लोग समझते हैं कि पता नहीं कितनी स्टाफ है क्या है नॉट इवन 1% ऑफ द बजट हैज बीन स्पेंट सो दिस इज आवर रियलिटी राइट नाउ
Where do you need, before I get to my next question, where do you need help? How can this room help you?
सबसे पहले ह्यूमन कैपिटल वी वांट द बेस्ट ऑफ द बेस्ट पीपल टू कम एंड वर्क सो हम मॉनिटरिंग में जा सकें सो हम ये बैंकिंग ऑन रैम्पिंग डिस्कशंस को क्योंकि व्हाट वी कांट afford is to launch something without having the right sort of frameworks in place.
Makes sense. So please, guys, PVARA needs talent. I'm sure technical talent, relationship talent, bankers who want to come on this side. What about real estate and both sides? एक तो जो government की जो records हैं, उसको tokenize कर दें. That makes it so easy. Fractionalization, ease of transaction. उस front पर any conversations have started with provinces?
So we've opened up a sandbox on asset-based tokenization. So we are looking at real estate. We also encourage other people to apply with their ideas in that sandbox. For me, the North Star is what Larry thinks. If he is managing 14 trillion, where you only have the US and China's GDP more than 14 trillion, or agar wo bar keh raha hai, and then I look at what Ondo Finance is doing, what Maple is doing, how they are tokenizing private credit, how Pakistan has one of the best performing stock markets in the world, yet only 500,000 registered investors. So best stock market, 500,000 registered users.
But that's
very speculative industry.
But that's also a taxation issue.
वही तो कह रहा हूँ ना, very speculative industry and 40 million. So the intent is there, the demand is there. Now, apart from taxation, there is also a technology issue. How we can put digital wrappers and tokenize our stocks so we can have, this civic miracle working for Pakistan.
Now I'm going to ask you a question everyone here will be very interested in. Knowing you're building the system and you know how this will evolve, what will open up first. If you were on this side of the room right now and building in crypto in Pakistan, what would you be building right now?
You see, I think one of the reasons why things moved so fast was because I've always been on that side of the room, trying to fail, trying to build. So if I was to build now, I would look at different verticals, which is, of course, the remittance corridor. There are more unsexier things like compliance, KYC around the Pakistani realities, but build around the remittance corridor, the freelancer economy, and then, of course, tokenization as well. And then actually, use this enabling environment. You see, Pakistanis, unfortunately, has always been adding to other people's balance sheet, right? Because it's been lack of access, the story that we've told ourselves. But now is with blockchain and AI, it's a very unique situation where why can't Pakistanis build the hyper liquid of the world? Or, DeFi is such a space where you don't necessarily need to have that traditional mindset. If you are building something in the blockchain arena, money is the last thing you need to worry about. And as the crypto audience is actually, it loves to experiment. And they are the first movers.
So talking about the crypto audience, now typically crypto bros are associated with those Bentleys with a big B and then the gold B necklace and so on and so forth. But as Bloomberg puts it, you're the most interesting crypto bro in the world, where Bloomberg says that, how Pakistan's position in the world has emerged and what we could not have imagined where we are today 6 months earlier. And Bloomberg says that one particular crypto bro has been very instrumental in this effort. So tell us about Pakistan's crypto diplomacy and how this has played a role.
No, I think Pakistan is, alhamdulillah, being at the center stage because of the efforts of the leadership of the country. And if there are international publications that are writing about me, I believe it's not about myself, it's about Pakistan. It's the flag I wear and the 250 million people under that flag. And I think what is happening right now is historically Pakistan has been seen from a certain lens point. We've never been seen as leaders in technology. But what is historical and what has changed is perhaps digital assets is a new topic. Traditionally, we have been takers of technology, takers of policy. But with this new financial innovation, there are new rooms being built, there are new tables, there are new chairs, there are new pens. And this time, because of our adoption, which is credit to the youth of this country and the tech-savvy youth of this country, we now have a seat on the table where these rules are being written, right? And I think diplomacy is turning into durability now. And it is important, and it's great if companies want to come to Pakistan. Some of the leaders in this technology are looking at Pakistan with a very positive lens. And not just that, markets from Morocco to Malaysia or the 191 countries under the IMF are still trying to see how to tame this dragon, how to turn this confusion into clarity. And Pakistan has taken a leap, and we are engaging on sovereign level now with other countries who are writing to us on how did you actually do this? Because Alhamdulillah, we have all sorts of social economic problem, which makes us the perfect lab to experiment and to incubate things.
So Bilal, you're a young guy, you're 35, you have an MBE, you've already come and helped create the rails in our country for something which could be monumental for our future, inshallah. What keeps you up at night?
I think a lot of work. A lot of work.
And what's driving you right now?
I think it's a great opportunity, alhamdulillah, that Allah has given me in terms of creating perhaps the impact. So what I'm not actually, I think success, if it ends with you, is very short term, and it's not success really. I think the opportunity that I've had, which is based on a lot of failure and shame actually, and burning midnight oil, I think what drives me is how Pakistanis don't need to leave Pakistan to be successful. And again, using these nascent technologies, because history tells us again and again that countries and colonies have progressed based on technology. How can I play my humble part in being a student of the technology? So I am learning whatever is happening and then translating that and putting that and bringing that back in our country, so that somebody in Karachi or a young person in Peshawar or Lahore just doesn't feel like that, they can't do it. We need to tell a different story to our generation that, why is it that financial empowerment and financial muscle, why is it only for the Western economies? I think even in our religion, we should not be shy of. And if there is actually money on the table for the world, Pakistanis should pick it up. We should take advantage of that.